Welcome back, YouTubers, to another video with me, NJ. What's up? And my partner here, Mr. Parkin.
Thank you very much for that fantastic introduction, NJ. We are, of course, the British Fist.
Catching.
And did you say what's up, NJ?
I said, what's up?
Of course, we always want to hear that, especially you, WWE fan 23P, of course. Now, make sure before we review Raw tonight, you subscribe up above and like this video. And don't forget to comment your thoughts on the show down below, of course.
And be sure to contact us in the links in the description box below.
Those links down there. Click, 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 click. Right, so, Raw tonight. The Raw before Money in the Bank. The go-home show. We're expecting good pay-per-view hype for this pay-per-view. For this Raw even and pay-per-view Money in the Bank. What do we open with?
Punk.
Yes!
Yes, it was a good thing because obviously there's a whole rumour that he's still suspended, but we found out before Raw that he's going to be there, and he comes out with his louder microphone so he can't get cut off.
Jimmy Hart style.
Jimmy Hart style, that's
definitely. He's like, oh yeah, if my mic cuts cut out, I've got a bit of a backup. I found that hilarious.
Yeah,
I just had flashes back of Jimmy Hart going, "Where's the heart of this man?" But anyway, so yeah, he basically comes out and says that he wants to do the first ever live contract signing with Vince McMahon.
And as soon as I thought that, I thought, this is not going to turn out well. Live contract signings never turn out well.
Nope, we've seen many of those things done before, and they don't ever turn out well, especially on SmackDown, where they have feared all fucking long doing it. Anyway, basically, Cena interrupts this promo by CM Punk. He was cutting a great promo, then Cena just had to come along and sort of stop the momentum a little bit. Basically, Cena comes out and says that CM Punk will have to go through him first before winning this title. No shit, Cena.
And we all know that Cena's a tough nut to crack, sadly.
Yes, well, ask the Breakfast Club that they are about that, eh? Cena says that he's earned his title, that Punk can run his mouth as much as he wants, but, you know, he's earned it and he doesn't really care. I can't really remember what else happened in this opening segment, to be honest.
It basically, I think...
Set up the main event.
Yeah, it's pretty much set up the main event.
Yep. And of course, we have a Raw GM email. Why the fuck do we still have an anonymous Raw GM, NJ?
Probably going to go on for another couple of months, sadly.
Fucking hell, God, really? I don't want them fed up with these emails. Basically, the anonymous Raw GM says that Mr. McMahon is en route to negotiate with Punk over a new contract, which we find in the main event, of course, and that Cena will be in action against none other than a special pairing of
the I'll say the new Nexus.
Yes.
The last two members.
Otunga and McGillicuddy. Yeah, so that was a great surprise. And you have Cena versus Nexus, and I know it's a handicap match, but still, they're two jobbers. I mean, seriously, when we see Cena in a match with them, we don't expect really any other result other than Cena winning, especially when it's pay-per-view.
Running through the past quickly, we have whenever we've seen Cena against Nexus, he swiped them all out.
Yep.
So how's this going to be different?
To be honest, and it doesn't help that these guys are the tag team champions. I mean, you really are not making your tag team champions look any good at all. You're not really adding anything to your tag team champions. In fact, they haven't really been on TV that much. They haven't really been in many matches. It's kind of one big rant I have about Nexus at the moment.
In fact, these two are not the pay-per-view. He doesn't really care. It's like what you said. It doesn't really matter what happens to Nexus now because they're not at the pay-per-view.
So Punk's leaving.
There you go. So if Cena beat them, who cares?
Yeah, Cena beat them. That's really all we've got to say about this. They really are fulfilling themselves as WWE's top jobbers at the moment, except for maybe Drew McIntyre. But I don't think the YouTubers can hear us. No, but he was jobbing later on in the night.
Let's save that for later.
But at least he got on TV.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, so after that little discussion me and NJ just had live on YouTube, we had a segment with Drew McIntyre, Dolph Ziggler, and Vicky Guerrero making fun of Mr. McMahon. And the first thing I'm thinking is, oh my god! Drew McIntyre, non-superstar sighting, he's actually on Raw tonight. Whee!
That is an exciting moment, but sadly, it doesn't last long because Vince McMahon eventually comes up to make fun of him, and he makes the match Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre versus The Big Show.
Yes, and when you know that Big Show is booked for the pay-per-view, you kind of know where this match is going. Vince McMahon, of course, standing next to his chosen one, not really mentioning any fact that he actually chose Drew McIntyre himself as the chosen one.
He does call Dolph and Drew McIntyre
the two rising superstars in WWE. Wow, that's such a good joke, Mr. Man. I had no idea you were this funny.
if any of those two were the rising one, it would be Dolph. But they're not even using Dolph the way they should be. So
US champion, I guess.
nah.
But anyway, the next segment was a bit of a nah as well. We had Kelly versus Melina, who had no entrance. And the first thing I thought about this match is, I can't believe Melina is going to job to Kelly. A genius like her. Come on.
The first thing I thought was, Melina's in a match. She's using someone different to flipping Brie Bella, Nikki Bella, Eve, and Kelly's dead.
And it kind of makes sense as well. If Melina's not going to be involved, you might as well make her job. I mean, I know she's an accomplished wrestler. I don't like to see her lose, but if she's not going to be on TV, you might as well make her job to someone like Kelly. And at least this match actually did something to make a feud. I mean, no, the match itself was shit, as usual, but at least the Bella Twins come in and do the business on Kelly and actually try and create some sort of tension, some sort of, try and get some sort of heel heat going into the pay-per-view so, they can maybe draw some fucking money from this pay-per-view from the Divas title match.
The bad thing about this is that as they beat down Kelly, someone has to come to save her. It's someone that's not even involved in the pay-per-view, not even involved with Kelly, Eve Torres. Why did she have to come out?
Why couldn't you have just had the Bella Twins beat down on Kelly and just leave it at that? So the babyface goes into the pay-per-view as kind of like an underdog, so the crowd feel they have to get behind the babyface so you can draw some money. I'm just saying, WWE, I think it would have been better done that way. But anyway, it's a Divas title match, so nah, who cares?
Yeah, plus it's not really added much to the match.
Not at all, really. Okay. The next we have a Raw Money in the Bank segment where basically we have Miz coming out saying how he's done it all before and he knows how it should be done.
And he doesn't mention Jack Swagger.
At all, no, because Jack Swagger comes out next saying the exact same thing. At least they're mentioning the fact they've won it before, which is kind of good going into this pay-per-view, because at least it's kind of doing some sort of, I don't know, hype for the pay-per-view.
Try to.
Yeah.
Jack Swagger being the winner that everyone's totally forgotten about.
Pretty much is, kind of like Miz said. And then the other competitors come out, the other 6 competitors, they get, everyone apart from Rey Mysterio, they come out and get a little bit of mic time, and Del Rio comes out and says he's the #1 contender, blah, 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 blah.
Well, talk about mic time, the one person we were all hoping for to get mic time didn't get it.
This guy equals ratings.
Alex Riley.
But he doesn't get any mic time. Why, Vince McMahon?
He just comes straight out and goes after the Miz.
Yeah.
So, look, you've got 2 people in a rivalry in a Money in the Bank. Maybe you could have had them 2 in a match, and an empty slot for 2 of the
Ziggler and McIntyre.
There we go.
Yeah, and one thing I will say about this, it does seem like instead of maybe, hyping up this with some segments or something before, like in the coming weeks going into Money in the Bank, it seems like WWE just tried to do it all in one segment, and it's just not worked. It really didn't work too much. It was a bit clusterfucked, and it just didn't it just doesn't have the right effect as what it has if you try and build over the coming weeks.
And without Ray being there, it didn't do too much of a difference, but he has no hype going into the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing was just a mess.
But at least we get to see Del Rio again in a cool car.
Oh, that's one good thing about this.
That was one definite good thing about this. Is his destiny to be the next WWE champion.
But this does lead to a match. A 3-on-3.
Yes, we have The Miz and Swagger and Truth versus...
We have Evan Bourne, Kofi Kingston, and
Alex Riley. Was you about to say Eugene?
A little bit.
Oh dear, Alex Riley and Eugene getting them mixed up, NJ. That's not a good way to make the middle of the video. But anyway, because I fell asleep in this match, I'm going to hand you over to my match correspondent, NJ himself.
I'll make this slow, just like the match.
Any insight?
That's it, it's just a slow match.
Okay.
The wrestlers did their best, but the match weren't going, it was just slowly dragged out.
Yep. I woke up when A-Rai won. Yay. Get me. I woke up when A-Rai won. That was the best time to wake up.
It was true, and as soon as he won, out comes Miz and takes him down to skull crush finale.
And then the Money in the Bank competitors all attack each other. Del Rio then clears the ring with the ladder. Is it me, or does this kind of have a similar ring to it when Sheamus came out and cleared everyone in Money in the Bank? It's a very strong hint, isn't it?
And it could also be, yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's probably hinting that we'll probably have Sheamus winning Money in the Bank, SmackDown with Choke Knot, and then Del Rio on Raw.
Yeah, but then again, it's just, it's a clusterfuck. You're trying to do too much in one match and 2 segments, and you have Del Rio come out with ring and hit everyone with a ladder, and it's just like, you should have built this over the weeks, instead of just trying to do it all in one segment. You've kind of blown your wad in one segment, in my opinion. Just my opinion, though.
Pretty much, yeah, that is true.
We then, oh god, we then get our 2-on-1 match between Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre and Big Show.
Before I get into this, Drew McIntyre came out with Dolph, so Drew McIntyre didn't have his own music.
Right. And I fell asleep as well, so I'm going to have to. NJ's going to have to tell you again because I fucking fell asleep twice during Raw.
Well,
because it was boring.
The thing is, once you see that Drew McIntyre came out with Dolph Ziggler's music, you know something's not right here. Big Show dominates throughout the match, but with Dolph hiding out the way from Big Show, he takes him up the ramp, about to try to turn him off, and then Mark Henry comes up and spears. Why did you have to be involved in that?
I don't know. All I will say here is, I know Drew McIntyre is getting jobbed. I'm kind of accepting the fact that he's getting buried at the moment. At least WWE have just gone and made Big Show attack the guy that's getting buried and let Ziggler, who's actually got a title, and maybe getting some kind of push away without getting scathed. I don't like what they're doing with Drew McIntyre, much like you don't, but I'm just accepting the fact now Drew McIntyre is going to get buried and is going to be on Superstars now for a while, so I'm just accepting that. I think I kind of have to now. I don't really think he's going to be getting some kind of push anytime soon. I've kind of given up.
Sadly not. There's many chances he could have got a push, but he didn't get it.
But at least this is kind of good hype for the pay-per-view. You have some interaction there between Big Show and Mark Henry, I believe, even though I didn't see it.
There was just a little bit, just speared off the ramp.
Yeah. So it's kind of good for their pay-per-view match, which was announced tonight as well. Big Show versus Mark Henry going to Money in the Bank. So segment was okay. It's just that why are you burying Drew McIntyre?
That's true.
Question.
But at least the next part made up for that horrible match.
The main event, again, because it involves CM Punk, like the Raw 2 weeks ago, was the highlight of the fucking night. We basically had the main event, CM Punk coming out, Mr. McMahon. Mr. McMahon came back in, and then came back out again, trying to get a good reaction from the crowd. It took him 4 fucking attempts. Five attempts. Basically, this was a live contract negotiation. We've never really seen one of these done this way before. It was very unique how it was done. Punk is trying to add little perks to his contracts.
Yeah,
like, I want my face on the turnbuckle. I want my face on the Raw thing. I want my face on the cups.
He wants his own chair. He wants
Fucking hell.
to be able to shove Vince when he wants. Yeah, a bit like that. And
this is fun. I might keep doing it.
And
it's in my contract.
CM Punk brings his own contract out and it's got all these little things in. He explains to Vince what happens, and Vince was this close to signing.
Yeah, I don't really like seeing this side of Vince because I'm very used to. I really wanted him to portray his Mr. McMahon character, especially if WWE are rumoured to try and get over Punk as a face. But we don't really. I did not expect to see Mr. McMahon like this. He almost seemed like a desperate man, didn't he, in this segment, which kind of surprised me. I didn't like to see this.
But luckily, somebody stopped him from going too low.
Yeah, I wonder who it was. His name begins with J. He is part of the Breakfast Club. He wears red shirts. NJ hates him. He needs Monster to try and he can't see me. And his thing is hustle, loyalty, respect. One guess who it was. That's right, you guessed it. John Cena comes out. Punk made fucking McMahon apologise to the fans.
That was the best part.
That was pretty good actually.
Cena had to ruin it. But
yeah, well, he always usually ruins it. But at least in this segment he was serious, and that. I can believe him more as a main event guy when he's being serious like that, and rather than his usual corny self. Do you know what I mean? It was better that way. And I think could you even say that the promo he cut was very good in response to Punk, even though Punk's was way better?
Even though I can remember more Punk than what Cena said.
Well, of course, what Punk was saying was absolute gold. But basically, Punk rips into Cena. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said some pretty decent stuff. He basically insults his wife and dad in the crowd.
He starts getting under Cena's skin, and Cena just goes.
Yeah, time to cut his neck off, I think. And basically, he walks back up the ramp and says, "I'm glad you punched me." You know, as Vincent McMahon is just sprawling down by the ring, defenseless.
It gave me a wake-up call. You are why I'm leaving. I don't like you and all that. And then he basically
rips up his contract.
Rips up the contract. Says, I'm going to take the title.
Yep.
You're going to lose Cena and you're losing Punk.
Yep. And of course, I'm going to be the best somewhere else. And you know, TNA and ROH will probably love to hear that, but unless it's part of storyline. You know, what did you think of this main event segment? I really enjoyed it. It was very weirdly done. I'm not sure what it's done for the pay-per-view match, but I do. It's confused me a little bit because now we at least know CM Punk is not signing in storyline. But what's that really going to do for the match? What did you think of the main event segment?
I think, to be honest, it's got Cena really wound up and ready to beat up Punk.
So it's good.
Punk wants to add had his final one match.
Yep.
I think he's done good for the match.
I really enjoyed this main event segment. It was the only real thing of the night that I actually really enjoyed. For most of the night, I was dropping off to sleep. So for me, this main event segment was very good. It did hype for the pay-per-view, did good for Punk. Made Vince McMahon look like a bit of a dick, but I suppose it's done good for the pay-per-view match, so I can't complain too much there. What are your overall thoughts on the show tonight, NJ, on Raw?
Most of it had improvements. It was just the Punk parts that actually looked good. And I'm just thinking, when are they going to stop drowning?
Drowning.
Yeah, that's what we call it, drowning, because that's what it is. He's going down, 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 down. Drew McIntyre, he could be back up to where he belongs. Whereas in the main event.
But we could rant about that all day, NJ. To be honest, so could I. Right, this show today, it did hype for the pay-per-view in some ways, which I thought were a bit weak, in my opinion. But it wasn't a very entertaining show, in my opinion. It was very boring. As you know, I dropped off a couple of times because I was failing to keep up with the show. There was way too many adverts. There was way too much filler in there. Although I can understand they're trying to hype for their pay-per-view, you have to compensate there with a little bit of entertainment, maybe a couple more matches that lasted a bit longer, maybe. The only real highlight of the night which kept me entertained was the main event. And, you know, that kind of says so much for the WWE and their storylines right now, that only a main event storyline can really keep me interested. What else do we have on Raw? We have Mark Henry, who's really on SmackDown, and Money in the Bank. That's really it, isn't it, for storylines at the moment?
Pretty much at the moment.
Yeah. What would you grade this show this week?
I'm going to give it a C.
You're going to give it a C? I'm going to go one less. I'm going to say C minus D. It really just didn't capture my imagination this week. And going into it's good hype for the main event match, but for what else? That was really it. The only real match that got hyped was the main event match with Cena, of course.
Pretty much.
And that's really it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So not a very good show in my opinion. Very boring. It was very boring, wasn't it? I would say it was. I don't know about you.
I'll say it's more slow.
All right, then.
Most of it was just dragged out.
Boring, slow. That's what we both thought of Raw tonight. Of course, you've heard our thoughts. Yeah, you have heard our thoughts, of course. We've been talking to you on a camera. You've heard our thoughts. We want to hear your thoughts, so make sure you put your thoughts in the comment section below. We really want to hear, and we'll reply to you as soon as we can. NJ, do you have any last words before I say goodbye?
What I'll say is, I hope you found Raw more entertaining than we did.
Yes.
And what we'll do here is one thing.
What's that?
Say goodbye.
Goodbye.